In a world filled with sniveling snowflakes, where timeouts and safe places are abundant, where there's 37 genders to scroll through on a job application. Not that they have jobs. We're proud to be your salvation and your beacon to unabashed, in-your-face talk. This is Stars, Bars, and Cigars, the no-holds-barred conservative talk show hosted by battle-tested vets. Lock and load and get ready for an explosive journey through breaking news, the rich tapestry of constitutional history, and the pulse-pounding realities of Army and Navy life. Oh, and yeah, cigars. Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And now your hosts, Jimmy the Bull and Tig Tigger.
Hey, Patriots and Snowflakes. Tig, how are ya?
Great, Bull. How are you?
Doing well.
How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Shit.
Who fed it? Who ate it?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit at first here about what we're going to talk about. We're jumping ahead here a little bit. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the things that are about to get ugly. But before we go into that, we'll talk a little bit about our smokes. So, Tig, what are you smoking?
Hey, I am smoking an everyday cigar. So went a little cheaper this time, and it's still put out by a premium company known as Alec Bradley. This is the Gold Crown. Now, the Gold Crown, let me tell you, Alec Bradley is always hit and miss with their cigars. We know this. Us experienced cigar smokers, we know this. You know, they have some good, some bad, some ugly. The Gold Crown was set up for like an everyday smoke for budget. This is a Toro with a Connecticut wrapper, the Gold Crown, and it is roughly around $65 a box of 20. It's about a $3 stick individually. It is a cheap smoke. It's not going to give you a great smoke, but it is consistent, I got to say. First, we'll get to the wrapper. It's a Connecticut wrapper. The filler, the origin is Honduras. It is a smooth to medium smoke. Very good for beginners. Intermediate smokers, advanced smokers can still smoke them, but they're probably... yeah, they'll smoke them as an everyday smoke if they got a budget, but, you know, it's not going to be their go-to for a good premium celebration cigar or anything like that. It's basically to feed their addiction, you know. Right. This is an everyday deal. Let me tell you, it does draw pretty well for a cheaper cigar. You're going to have some fraying on the ends. You know, it's going to kind of come apart on you a little bit because it's cheap, you know.
Those are like, they're machine made, aren't they? And they use like almost like a tobacco filler on them. They're kind of like a short leaf filler, aren't they?
Yeah, somewhat. They do smoke evenly too, I want to say. And you know, they stay lit pretty good. And the taste is somewhere about a smooth, creamy taste with a little bit of almond and spice. Some earthy tones. It's a pretty mild smoke. It's not going to choke you. It does stay consistent all the way down, so it's really not that bad of a cigar for a cheapie. I mean, if you're going to have a go-to cigar that's not going to break the bank, make you broke or anything like that, you got a budget a month, and yeah, you may have on your humidor, you may have a handful of your go-to great premium expensive cigars, but yet you don't want to be smoking them up every day, and you'd still want to smoke a cigar every day. This is one of them ones, the Gold Crown from Alec Bradley. It's not bad. I mean, I've smoked a heck of a lot worse, and that's kind of why I wanted to share this tonight for a lot of people that may be looking at a budget, and maybe everyday smokers want to everyday smoke, but maybe not. You know, maybe not real advanced smokers or cigar snobs, as you will, or, you know, aficionados. This is a good one for them. So, you know, I got this at a company in Tampa Bay, Florida, known as Thompson Cigar. Good. I ordered it out. So, yeah. So, you know, what do you got there, Bully Bull?
All right, I got myself a Buffalo Trace. Haven't fired up yet because I wanted to see if I can hold the. Anyways, it's got like a little greenish wrapper on the bottom.
Bull is smoking a Buffalo.
Buffalo this time. Last time was a bull.
Those are good cigars.
Yeah.
Question is, are you drinking the Buffalo Trace with it?
No, I don't have any left.
Oh, that's a shame.
I
That's
know,
a shame.
right?
Ah, man. Mm-mm. Oh well, can't have everything.
Yeah, so tonight I'm smoking the Buffalo Trace Toro. It's a 6x52 ring gauge. It's got a Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. It has the filler is a Dominican Repub and Nicaraguan filler. And then it's approximately about an $8 cigar. So it's got a kind of like a lightly oiled kind of a wrapper to it. It's a pretty nice looking stick. It's got kind of like that bourbon color to it. So I'm going to see what my flavor palette is picking up today.
So, I'll tell you what, Bull.
Yes, sir.
An interesting weekend. And not too bad of a week. Pretty busy. Doing some spring cleaning, you know. About a week, I'll be getting that Harley Davidson out. Haven't had a chance yet. Been busy. Been busy. And spring cleaning around the house. Worked on my fence outside with Ryan from Iowa, helping us with the assist.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, my girlfriend Michelle's getting ready to move in with me. It's a slow process, so we're slowly kind of decorating a little bit, not, you know, kind of taking our time. It's kind of funny because, you know, I have people ask how long we've been together. I say, well, you know, we've been going together 9 months officially, but, you know, we've known each other for like almost 5 years. So, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of what we've been doing. Looks like Larry says hello. How are you doing, Larry? Wants us to get ugly.
Yeah. Hey, Larry, how's it going? Yeah, we'll get ugly tonight.
We always do. Kind of.
Yeah.
Sorta.
So, kind of my first impressions on this one. I'm kind of getting kind of like that barnyard.
Stay
flavor.
tuned, Larry. I'm going to ask you a serious question here.
Yeah. I'm getting kind of this barnyard flavor, kind of, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know. It's just a first hit, kind of. But I can really taste the Nicaraguan fillers on this because it's, you know, it's got a little bit more than a medium body.
A little more potency.
Yeah.
You can always tell if you got some Nicaraguan in a cigar because it's going to have a little bit of punch to it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what this has, is a little bit more punch.
Yeah, Buffalo Trace is good. I've had them. I mean, I like them. I like the Maker's Mark too. Speaking of,
those are a good cigar.
Speaking of liqueur-based cigars, not a top of the line, but a pretty damn good cigar.
Right.
You know.
So, getting into our program, Tig. All right, Deep State. Want to kind of dive into that a little bit?
Crap. You can tell that they are doing their damnedest with their stinking liberal, crappy district judges and everything to really try to undermine the agenda of this administration. And you know, they're doing everything they can. And there's rumor has it that some of your top of the line politicians are being investigated right now too. So I'll tell you what, if the hammer falls, and they're not going to talk about it on the mainstream media, of course they're not, so everything's all quiet. But I have a feeling, not only if they are unsuccessful, if they get desperate, and they are, if they get desperate, that they're going to be too widely exposed, and that the current administration, Trump administration's agenda is going to get pushed through and stuff. I think they're going to create a crisis.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more of that too. I've been kind of noticing, a lot of the like the Muslims and stuff, they're really starting to amp up, their presence in a bunch of different states. I don't know if you noticed, like down in Texas, they had a big, like a 400 acre or 400 what do you call it, 400 acres that they're going to build a city there just for Muslims.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah, they need to deport them.
These are radical Sharia law type Muslims that hate Christians, and they are overrunning England right now. We need to stop this.
In Ireland.
Yes, yeah, the whole UK pretty much. But yeah. we need to. We as Americans, we need to stop this. These people are radical. Part of the problem is we were overseas for 20 plus years fighting the radical Muslims over there. And then we have a treasonous administration known as the Biden administrator, whatever we call them, the regime. They literally were flying these people over and allowing them to come over the border. And so we're still talking about all these MS gangs and the Venezuela gangs and all these illegals and stuff like that. But we had a whole lot of radical Muslim terrorists that come over here too. We need to get rid of them. And I bet they built their cells already, and they're continuing. So be aware of these people. I do not like these people. I do not accept them in our country. And so I believe there is going to be a war in the States if this keeps up. I mean, we need to step up and put a stop to this. Christians need to be aware of this too, because the Muslims hate us for the most part. Most of them do.
Yeah.
And
so it's not only the MS-13 and the Tren de Aragua or whatever they call those dudes, but there's a lot of other fractions that are in the United States because of the open border policy of Joe Biden.
They want to take down this administration, and if they cannot do it, they're going to create a crisis. And so and I'll tell you what, people like George Soros and his son, they're up to no good all the time. They pay these protesters. In fact, I think they've paid a lot of people to do the damage to the Teslas and all that stuff too. This is the whole thing about what I like to say is delete the elite. Okay, we got too many bureaucrats getting away with too much using money investments. You got Bill Gates trying to destroy our planet. Okay, so this dipshit too, the Bill Gateses of the world that are the elitists that have a heavy influence with their money on politicians and the deep state and everything else. This is an idiot who obviously doesn't know real science, because if he knew real science, he would know that the climate change, okay, you're not helping climate change by ridding the planet of trees. In fact, the earth has always been created self-sustainable with the help of trees and plants, because those are the ones that actually take away the carbon and provide fresh and clean oxygen. That's how you save the planet. That's how you
now I sent you a video, Tig, that was explaining a little bit about that, where
I always knew that
Bill Gates was cutting down trees and then they would bury them.
You see, as a master gardener, went to school for this kind of stuff, took classes on this stuff. I know real science. Real science tells you the planet is self-sustainable. Okay, as long as you have plenty of trees and plenty of shrubs and plants, they're going to pull all the carbon out of the air and return it with fresh, clean oxygen, which will keep the climate from actually changing for the worse. In fact, what it will do is stabilize the climate and stabilize the environment. This is the big lie they keep telling people and trying to convince them of this. And also Bill Gates at the same time is using cloud seeding too. He's part of those corporations and he's part of that group and part of using our military also, as well as the corporate airlines, to do this cloud seeding and spray these chemtrails because they want to kill us slowly with the poison that they're shooting in the air. Plus, he's trying to block out the sun now. Well, we need the sun. It's got the rich in vitamins and everything else. All right. Sun actually helps sustain life too. It helps grow plants as well. So he's trying to literally destroy the planet. He's trying to kill off humanity with his influence, not to mention all the new vaccines that he tries to invest his money in for research. He did. I'm pretty sure he invested enough money in gain of function too to help create new viruses and then help create new vaccines. These kind of dirtbags like Bill Gates and Fauci, they need to be hung for crimes against humanity. They're not doing us any good. They're doing us great harm. They are the evil of this world, and they have great influence on the leaders of this world. They're causing a lot of problems. And I'll tell you what, if they ever get exposed too, like I said, right now, even with the Trump administration trying to undermine it through our current politicians and certain corporations, and everything else that everybody, basically he's going to expose, and basically he's trying to build America to be a very powerful nation and a very wealthy nation. They don't want that. They want to destroy the dollar too. This is all part of the New World Order agenda. And if the administration is foiling their plans and they become desperate enough, they're going to create a crisis, a huge crisis to undermine this. COVID was just a drop in the bucket, folks. Right. That pandemic was just a drop in the bucket. So, they've been talking forever about New World Order and stuff like that, creating crises, martial law as a result. I think we are seeing a calm, and I don't think people should become complacent with this. Oh, we're taking care of the border. We're taking care of the economy. Things are great. When you think things are great and you start to become sleepy and complacent, that's when they hit you with a big, huge disaster. And I have a feeling that when they think that people are so confident and are becoming complacent, that's when they're going to hit us with the big one, folks. And we've got wars all over right now that they're not even talking about either. I mean, NATO's getting ready. They're setting troops on the ground in Ukraine. They're trying to push into a World War III with Russia. We've got fights going on with Iran. We got fights going on all over the world. That's not even being talking about right now. So you got your wars and your rumors of wars. Some of you people might say, hey, man, this is quite biblical what's going on right now. Well, you might be right. In fact, I know you're right. I know for a fact you're right. So I think we're going to see darker days. We're going to see good days now for a little bit until people become complacent. Then it's going to get ugly again, folks. It gets better, but it gets ugly first. It's always a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So, but it can get better if we stay alert, stay resilient, stay on top of these politicians, and hit them hard on their crackhead nonsense. I could go on. I mean, look, another news thing. We had like 4 rhinos in the Senate vote against Trump's tariffs on Canada. What the hell? See, these people need to be called out on. These kind of people need to be called out on. We need to hit them hard, these politicians. We need to stay communicating with them and say, you know what, we're through this nonsense. All right, we're through this do-nothing Congress. We're through you guys betraying us, betraying the voters and everything else. I'm kind of going on a tangent here about it, but, folks, I always say, if you're not suspicious and you're not a little paranoid, then you're not prepared. And so don't get too comfortable, folks. See what could really happen, and our other topic is going to be transhumanism, which is going to be ugly in the future too.
Absolutely.
Well,
So, some of the other things too, with going hand in hand with Trump's agenda, Speaker Johnson really needs to get on the ball and start getting, his executive orders passed into laws. So this can be something that, we could look forward to in perpetuity instead of just this 2-year stint that we're going to probably get.
Never been a fan of Mike Johnson. Well, I was at first, but then he did a complete
He turned out to be a dickweed.
180 on us, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're weak too.
Yeah.
You're not getting much done.
Well, he benefited, so that's the reason.
Everybody has a price in Congress. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Oh, they talk a good talk. They give us all lip service. And then, they get voted in, and then they turn around and they switch on us, bait and switch type of stuff. Right? They're all a bunch of con artists. They're thieves. They're crooked. Me saying they're thieves and they're crooked kind of leads to some trending news later on that I'll mention. But yeah.
Well, so moving along here, did you want to go into transhumanism? I know that's kind of something we wanted to speak about for quite a while, and kind of put it off a little bit. So
yeah, transhumanism. It's not conspiracy theory, folks, and they've been trying to tell us this in certain movies for years. Movies like The Matrix, for one. There's a movie called Lucy. There's a few sci-fi movies out there. And you get into RoboCop and all the other stuff, but it's really not a conspiracy, and it is actually very dangerous to humanity in the future. And so I was reading. It's hard to explain about transhumanism unless you're, not one of these people that is constantly talking about it, constantly explaining it and researching all the time and stuff. But I understand it. And I thought, what better than to explain it to our folks? I got this excerpt from somebody who wrote it, and I put it I put it on my phone, and I'm going to read it to you. I don't like reading to people on our podcast because it can kind of get dry. But this guy, I think, puts it best when he explained about transhumanism. Now, some people say, well, this is just his opinion, his view. But you know what? His view is pretty spot on. So let me read this to you. Transhumanism is the plan to technologically control the human body through artificial intelligence, merging with AI. The mark of the beast and 666 are related to the microchip, the use of barcodes, and the digital currency credits, which constitutes to the digital traceable human. Implantable devices is a fusion of the physical, digital, and biological identity. It's the transhuman singularity in a world where people have their every movement tracked and every thought read by an implantable microchip, and it can also act as a built-in smartphone. We must realize that all of these things will be made to seem like evolution for humanity. But in truth, we've all been lied to, and the transhuman agenda is aimed to devolve the human species. Devolve the human species, not involve, devolve. True evolution comes from organic consciousness, not the physical body. Cyber platforms from PayPal to Apple Pay, Bitcoin, and other cyber platforms, etc., are pushing the transhumanist, which is also New World Order agenda, waiting to be ushered in with a digital false god, which is known as artificial intelligence, also connecting to the human mind. All of these things are intended by the, quote, dark forces manipulating this world to bring about their technocratic New World Order transhumanist world. They mean to enslave and destroy humanity while it's changing the organic environment of this planet to a more artificial environment that's suitable for transhumans in an environment run by otherworldly artificial intelligence via a cyber grid controlled by interdimensional entities. Some call it creating a hybrid transhuman AI hive mind race, because to merge the physical body and consciousness with AI means whoever controls the AI will be able to possess and control the way humans operate. Some also say it's a false sense of immortality via artificial intelligence through cloning and sleeve transfer, body to body consciousness transfer through microchipping people in their hypothalamus, which is, well, sadly, what Elon Musk is pushing. To merge with AI or get a DNA modification through biotechnology also means to merge with a demonic consciousness. Altering human DNA through nanotechnology is a part of transhumanism. We must be aware of the technocratic New World Order agenda and stand up to stop such a reality from manifesting. We must wake up and regain what's left of our organic humanity while we still have a chance. Living in harmony with the earth and creating holistic, free communities is the way forward. So, anyway, transhumanism is a necessary evil. And what they're going to do is basically, use microchipping and stuff to implant in humans. And down the road, they'll be able to control our thoughts, control our minds and everything. And if you don't comply with the narrative, comply with their agenda, they could shut you off completely, shut off everything, shut off your functioning and shut off your financial stability and everything else. Here's the thing. I looked into transhumanism. I was like, what figure really is to me familiar? What character is familiar with transhumanism? Kind of like a transhuman type of person, right? And so here's the thing. You can all do your own research on transhumanism, and I really urge you to do so and be aware of this stuff through AI, artificial intelligence, which I think is a necessary evil, is an unnecessary evil, mind you. But if any of you has ever watched Star Trek, the New Generation series back in the day, yeah, there was a character known as Data. Now look up Data. Look up the character Data from the Star Trek New Generation series. That is a really good example. Even back then when they did that show, when they did that show, it was back a while before we have the technology we do today. The Data character from Star Trek, that is really a fine example of what can happen when they merge AI and microchipping and robotics and stuff with a human being. Then you've got a fine example of what transhumanism can and will be one day. So, this to me is very evil, folks. And right. It's coming unless we resist it. And I don't think people are quite aware of it very much. I don't think people have been educated enough of it. People are enjoying artificial intelligence right now in many different ways through video enhancement stuff and movies and shows and everything else. And they enjoy their cell phones and everything else. But folks, this is leading up to some bad stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
They're getting you used to all this stuff. The debit cards have the chips in them already. There's self-checkouts. They're getting used to you scanning things. They're talking about chips in the brain, chips in the hand. That's leading to the mark of the beast, which is Revelation 13 in the Bible. Folks, all this stuff is kind of falling into place to get you used to this and accepting this. And then one day, conditioning, and one day you're going to, a lot of people are going to fall into the trap, and it's eternal damnation. So be aware of it, folks. Really study up on your transhumanism. Do some deep research into it. your AI and your transhumanism, because this is really evil, folks. It's
Right.
and it's
I
coming.
agree.
It's getting there too. So yeah, that's all I got for transhumanism.
Awesome, man.
But you know,
Yeah, so
no.
basically, we're going to kind of roll into some of the stuff that I've been seeing a lot out on different sources. And one I came across was Convention of the States. And we just so happened to have Larry Catalier, which was a guest of ours. He's been doing some comments on our show here tonight. So basically what I came across is that forgive me, I don't know the exact number, Larry, but I see that a few more states had joined the Convention of States, and I think they're getting close to having for the I don't know exactly how many they had, but they're getting really close, and it's getting Soros really concerned. So
Yeah, very concerned. Very concerned. Um, Speaking of the Convention of States and Soros being concerned,
well, that
Larry,
brings me to
what happened to the Wisconsin election last week? The Supreme Court, Wisconsin got screwed. They got a very radical Supreme Court judge, which is going to, for a very long time, hurt Wisconsin and their constitution. They got an ultra liberal, Marxist, dirtbag, wokeism, pro wokeism, crappy shitbag for a Supreme Court justice. And Bull and I think it was rigged. I don't know what you think.
Well, the
We think
biggest
it was
thing
rigged.
that gives it away, though, Tig, is the voter ID got passed, and that's a
Yeah.
conservative.
So the voter ID gets passed, but you get a radical leftist Supreme Judge, and then to hear that, all of a sudden they run out of ballots. How does any county that has to know how many voters they have not be prepared and have enough ballots to match the number of voters? How does that happen? And how does it happen that mysteriously they're bussing in people to vote?
Right. And not only that, Tig, but Pam Bondi, she needs to step up to the plate, man. I'm just telling you, she needs to step up to the plate. She has at her disposal the forensics where she can go in there and check out all this stuff. And, there's going to be some discrepancies. I can almost see it on the wall. And, that she's not, saying that, we're going to be, doing an audit of this election because, number one, they spent, the Democrats spent like billions. And I think it was like, what was it, 200 million on that? I don't know. I'm just, I don't know.
Well,
there was a lot of money spent on getting that judge in there.
To be the devil's advocate, and I hate that term, but Pam Bondi does have a shitload on her plate. However, I think she took her pay deal, and I never liked her, and I still don't really like her as an AG. I would have circled the wagons around Matt Gaetz forever. I just would have. I don't like this. I don't like Pam Bondi. I don't like her as a pick. I just never did.
Yeah, Larry said, they got taken to the woodshed.
Yeah.
More like they got taken to the train station.
Yeah. It's gonna be a sad future for Wisconsin, I think. Well, you're welcome. Well, I wouldn't say you're welcome because I don't like the traffic they bring into our state. But some of you conservatives are more than welcome to cross over and move over to our state because
absolutely, man.
We can always use more conservatives because if Wisconsin's gonna cave in to people like George Soros and the ultra liberals from Madison, Wisconsin and Milwaukee. I don't know. Dane County.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Some of you Wisconsin people, I don't know. You might want to think about your future in Wisconsin. Yeah, because you already got a jerk off for a governor, a radical blue idiot for governor. I think your state legislature is pretty shaky too. But now you got some radicals on your Supreme Court. Oh, good luck. Oh, you know what? I think the future looks dim for your Second Amendment, because you're not a constitutional state either. Constitutional carry state. I mean, you're not a constitutional carry state. So your Second Amendment can be on shaky ground anytime, depending on who's in charge there in Wisconsin. So right now, I'd be getting a little nervous. You lose your Second Amendment in your state, yeah, you just lose everything, basically. What's next? Your First Amendment too?
Right.
I don't know. I fear for any of the conservatives in Wisconsin for having any kind of a decent future in that state. I just do. Oh, and good luck. Is your state, I think, gonna fund now transgender surgeries too and stuff like that? Wokeism,
I'm sure it's coming.
Continued Marxism into your schools and all that stuff. Yuck! It's gonna get ugly in Wisconsin. You people got to rise up in Wisconsin and take a stand. Go to go to meetings or whatever you have to do. Go to your council meetings. Go to your state house and form protests and stuff and say, we didn't vote for this crap. Really, we didn't. We smell some funny business. It just didn't pass the smell test. Right. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I really fear for Wisconsin, for the future Wisconsin. I really do. Even though you did vote for voter ID, who's going to enforce it? Tell me, who is going to enforce voter ID in Wisconsin when you got nothing but lib turds running the state? Answer that for me.
And another thing that I saw through the Convention of States is they want fixed term limit, or they want to get rid of fixed term limits for federal judges. And that would basically cycle out a lot of these turds that are in there that are kind of fucking shit.
Oh, yeah.
Up, so.
Yeah, these judges ought to have term limits.
And I think they should take it even a step further and say that the Supreme Court, they certainly need to have some term limits.
Yeah, we need to get rid of all these terrible, terrible judges. And since when do district judges and circuit judges, since when do they get to tell the executive branch what the hell they can and cannot do? If the executive branch has an order that's clearly within the Constitution, how can they determine that it's unconstitutional when clearly you can read the Constitution and say, no, he's the president's well within his constitutional powers to have an executive order that's constitutional,
right.
know? And so these judges, they're just radical nut jobs, and they're basically they're making their judgments based on their personal bias and not really on the Constitution itself. Oh, and Larry just added that Milwaukee and Madison is our election demise. Perfectly said.
Yes. That is perfectly said.
Wow.
Those two cities alone I think were the tipping point for the election.
Oh, they always are. I don't know what happened. I'm surprised that Trump won Wisconsin after looking what just happened here.
Right.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing Florida was smart enough to elect a couple Republicans to expand on the very slim majority they have in the House right now, or we would have really been screwed.
Right.
As a nation. So we kind of dodged a bullet last week with the two Floridian Republicans that were elected on. Hopefully they're not rhinos. Right. So I'm sick of those. I'm sick of rhinos getting elected.
Speaking of rhinos, did you see Winsome Sears out of Virginia? She's running for governor, and she is the governor, if I'm not mistaken. And they are they want to get rid of her because she's a big rhino.
There's a lot of them rhinos running around these days. It's
She
sickening.
talks a good talk though, whenever you see her on a
Lip
talk show or
service.
whatnot.
Lip service. Lip
Yeah.
service. That's all you get. They spew nonsense. They sell shit to people, and that's what they
Right.
do. They're selling you bullshit. All right,
Right.
they've been doing that for years, politicians. And then you got your Sue Collinses, your Lisa Murkowski's, your Mitch McConnell's. You know, they're not Republicans. They're Democrats. They're rhinos. Okay,
Freaking dirtbags,
they
man.
they have a title called Republican, but they're actually Democrats, and they've sold out. They're among the ones that have mysteriously gotten awful wealthy off of six-figure salaries in a
Yeah.
quick amount of time, in a very fast pace that really is unrealistic. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
taking their payoffs. They're selling us
Oh,
out.
absolutely.
So
And with Doge in there, that you think that they would have, kind of started getting these people who have been taking kickbacks and whatnot, kind of under control a little bit, but you can see that they're still doing it and it's still a thing,
Yeah. Hey, that's part of some trending news here about Elon Musk. What he hinted at, you seen that, didn't you?
Yeah.
That he hinted that the next Doge target could be the strangely wealthy members of Congress. Oh
Yeah.
man.
I just saw that bleep through my,
Okay. If he can find some evidence there, all right, they need to be indicted.
absolutely.
We need to knock down Congress and the Senate. We need to shrink the House seats, period. We
And
need to
that's
get
a
rid
good
of
way
all
to
these
do it.
corrupt people. Yeah. You know what? Eliminate the seats of the corrupt members of Congress and the corrupt members of Senate. Eliminate their seats, indict them, charge them, eliminate their seats altogether once they're taken down. Start shrinking the amount of seats in the House and Senate. We have way too many seats. Way too many seats. Cut it in half.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. We've been saying that from our
Yeah.
first show.
Yeah. That's the only way you're going to get rid of corruption.
So Tig, how's that cigar smoking for you?
Let me tell you though, for an everyday smoke, for a real cheapy cigar, it's solid. I mean, it really hangs in there as far as it's consistent. It's not going to choke you like some of them cheap cigars. You're like, it's got a really
Right.
raw taste to it. Right now, it's somewhere getting to the halfway point, and it stays the same flavor, and it's smooth. It's not gonna choke you. It's for a cheap cigar, it's great. Here's the only problem with this cigar I see is the wrapper tends to just shred.
Yeah.
It's a very nasty. The wrappers are cheap. Sometimes I'm peeling them and I have to flake them off, and they're falling apart on me. But for an everyday smoke and for an actual flavorful smoke, that's not going to choke you, irritate your throat or anything like that. It's a really good cigar. Especially for the money.
Right.
$65 for a box of 20 for an
Yeah.
Alec Bradley. It's not bad. I've smoked Alec Bradleys that are like $8-9 cigars that tasted a lot worse than this cheapy Alec Bradley Gold Crown. So,
Right.
How's yours working? I think yours is a very good cigar, by the way. So
yeah, you know what? Those first few little like hints of barnyard or maybe like, I don't know, kind of like grass almost, taste has gone away, and now it really kind of mellowed out to be a really good, smooth kind of almost like just taking a sip or two of bourbon, or the Buffalo Trace bourbon. It's got kind of like that sweetness to it, but yet not quite, and it's got that caramely kind of taste to it. So I can see some of the flavors are coming out, as I get halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through the cigar. So it's a good smoke. I'm starting to enjoy it a little better than what I did when I first lit it up and puffed on it for about the first couple inches or so.
Yep.
But
Sometimes
it's really mellowing out.
Sometimes you just have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
hard to be when you spend some good money on a cigar and it starts off, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's an $8 cigar, so I mean, it wasn't like breaking the bank or nothing, but
But still,
yeah, still.
you you tend to wonder at first. You're like, oh, okay, well, let's just keep smoking and see how it goes. So,
Right.
yeah. What do you got? Anything else?
Well, another video
wanna
I
talk about?
come across that was kind of interesting is I noticed CCP they're trying to repopulate Australia. That's pretty concerning because they're going to try to make it into another Taiwan from the way it sounds.
Well, Australia, if you notice, if you go far back, okay, Australia is easy pickings to convert to a communist country. I mean, okay, first of all, when they had their gun buyback deal and all the citizens just gave up their guns, that was a number one mistake Australia made, is giving up their gun rights and giving up their guns. Big mistake. Then you look at COVID. They were allowed to get away with all the shutdowns, arrest people for simply not wearing a mask, and arrest them for leaving their homes and stuff like that. You saw a lot of things going on during COVID in Australia that reminded you of communist China.
Yeah.
And what they were doing in their cities in China. So they're very scary. I don't know. You people in Australia, you've always been good people. I've worked with, met quite a few of you, competed and stuff in the future. Good people. But you're weak. You just easily gave up all your rights and you continue to do so. And it's saddening because I really can't respect Australia much anymore.
No,
I really can't.
They're weak. They're extremely weak. And,
very much.
CCP, I mean, let's face it, they're like one of the superpowers. So, I mean, they're going to overwhelm this little country and they're going to own it pretty much.
Well, and they're a continent too, Australia.
Right.
Here's the thing about Australia too. See, they're opposite of what we are. Right now, we're in spring and entering summer. They're entering winter. It's going to be a rough winter for y'all in Australia. You better watch out and you better resist China. That's all I can say. I have been on our podcast. I have always said that China is our number one enemy in the United States.
Yeah, I think we need to get rid of the Chinese and the Muslims.
We need to deport them. We need to deport all the Chinese with the illegals and with these radical Sharia law Muslims.
Another thing that China's doing too is they're sending over their women that are pregnant and they're charging them like $60,000 or some shit like that. And they put them up in these shitbag hotels, so that they can have their babies in the United States. And then the United States, gives them the anchor baby, deal. It's like, we got to get away from this shit, man. We just absolutely got to.
That needs to stop. That birthing crap needs to stop.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, if you're not born here with at least one citizen, one United States citizen as a parent, then you shouldn't be considered a legal citizen. You're not legal. No. So, yeah,
Trump needs to look at that big time.
Yeah, we need to kick out all the nationals from China. Get rid of them. Get rid of the foreign exchange students and all the cities in America. And there's a lot of them that have these called sister cities from China. Yeah. Eliminate that. Stop that. Our city, Bull,
is one of them.
Is one of them. Well, they're also working on the 15-minute city too that they're slowly beginning to do. And I see it. I seen the writing on the wall that long time ago with all that shit. And that needs to stop. We need to shut that down. We, the people, might have to actually one day literally fight a physical war in our country again. A new revolution or civil war or whatever.
Right. And, it's really interesting you brought up the 15-minute city, because I think what that part of it probably would have went through a lot quicker had not Kim Reynolds signed into law that banning those traffic cameras. Because our city bought
the facial recognition cameras have been banned, but from what I heard, they still push through and they still have the license recognition cameras.
Yeah, they still have the license recognition.
Yeah, they just can't do the facial recognition, which was a big plus.
Right.
We don't want that, absolutely. So not, but
Right.
Yeah. So, but they'll work their way. They'll try to do something to undermine that. They are always trying to undermine our governor, of course.
Right.
Um, but there's some things our governor needs to work on too that I don't really agree with her on too, and
Right.
she's kind of becoming unpopular in a couple topics. But
Yeah.
I digress. So,
Hey, did you happen to catch any of that hands off bullshit that that was going on in our town and across, I guess, across Iowa? Maybe it was across the United States, from what I understand.
no, I didn't catch it.
Well, basically, they're against President Elon.
Yeah, and I try not to give them idiots attention because unnecessary because they're stupid. Okay, how many times do we have to explain to the lib turds that Elon Musk was given a job by the president to investigate and define things and then to give his recommendation, not ruling, to the president. Okay, he doesn't set laws or regulations or anything. He doesn't do nothing. He doesn't have power, folks. He's working for the president to take his findings after investigating and to hand them over to the president and give his, basically advice to the president, and then it's up to the president to take it from there. So stop saying that Elon Musk is a ruler or is a dictator or tyrant or he's not doing.
Untrue.
Yeah. So, your worship God hero Fauci, you listened to him and thought he was all fine and dandy during COVID, and all he did is lie. And he's not elected. He's a bureaucrat. And all he did was lie and cause the many, many, many deaths of people through the kill shot.
And Bill Gates is another one. He's another NGO person.
Yeah. So don't go. I mean, I don't necessarily trust Elon Musk, and I know he's done a lot of things I don't like. Right now, through Doge, he's doing what he needs to do, and I approve of Doge, not because of Elon Musk is Elon Musk. Okay, if the guy, if the guy's going to do something positive for this country, let him. Okay, because he's not making decisions. Trump gets the ultimate decision on this. Okay, the president, the executive branch, folks, the executor, which is the president. He's the one that makes the ultimate decisions, not Elon Musk. But you guys just can't get it through your sick, deranged heads because you're so full of mental illness and you don't bother to get the help you honestly need. Nor do you bother, you listen to the lies of fake news media and the lying narratives. You don't bother to do your own research. You don't bother to use your own thoughts. Your cerebral vortex is all but dead. I guess it's from all that masking and taking the kill shots and the boosters. I don't know what it is.
Pineal glands are all fucked up.
Yeah, you're all deranged. And you know what? You need to wake up from your slumber, do your own research, and start thinking for yourselves, folks, and look at how the branches in government actually work. And read your Constitution, too.
Yeah, because we are a constitutional republic, whether you like to believe that or not.
I used to say libtard a lot, and I thought, no, because you know what? I'm not going to add that tard anymore, I don't think. I'm trying not to. You know why? Because you see, that goes to an old title terminology, kind of like what the old terminology was, mentally retarded. Okay, Let me tell you something. Mentally retarded people have more sense than you libturds, and I'm calling you turds now. Okay, because you're all turds. There is nothing good about you libturds anymore. You leftists, you radical, communist, Marxist, brainwashed, globalist dirtbags that are mentally ill. So let me tell you, turds, something. All right, no quarter for you anymore. No quarter. I am not even going to try to be friends with you. I'm not even going to try to reason with you anymore. You're done. You're all dead to me, okay? Because you're promoting. Now you're going around and you got your own people promoting killing babies in the womb, you leftists, and you're getting downright violent when the pro-lifers take a stand and try to reason with you. And then you start like the one lady that swung at the other lady and started hitting her because she was trying to have a reasonable argument about the pro-life issue. And so they couldn't take it because every time the libturds lose on facts and truth, they got to get all violent and radical on you. Well, you know what? Enough of that. Okay? All right, enough of that. All right, an eye for an eye. I'm done turning the other cheek on y'all. I mean, I'm a Christian and stuff, but I'll tell you what, if I get in a little argument with y'all and you start swinging at me, I'm going to knock your ass out. Because you know what? No more quarter for you. You're done. All right?
Yeah.
You're done. We're sick of your shit. We've been putting up with your shit for far too long. And guess what? You know what? If you were born with a dick, if you were born with a penis, that's what you are. You're a man. Enough of this wokeism crap. Enough of this transgender garbage. You are a mentally ill, sick individual. That's what you are.
Right.
I kind of went off there. I'm sure Larry's laughing right now, Larry.
Yeah, he is. He did send us another a little post there on our chat.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean,
yeah,
I'll tell you what.
On the head.
Some people, if they were watching us, would absolutely hate what we have to say. But hey, you know what? You can't tell us we're lying when we're telling you the truth. You know, whether you don't like the truth, well, that's fine. If you don't like the truth, you don't like the truth. But you know what? At least we're telling you the truth.
And Larry just said the Convention of States has 3 possibility for states passing a resolution in the near future.
Good. I hope they get it done.
Yeah, I hope they do, because I think that's what they need. If I'm not mistaken, that's what they need is 3 more states. Isn't that correct, Larry?
Somewhere in there. I don't keep track of it. So to get it, I think they're getting somewhat close, but
yeah, they're getting really close, and that's why Soros is so afraid.
It should be easier now than ever to get closer. I mean, I would think.
I mean, with Trump's win, you think, landslide win.
Yeah, I mean,
you think that the Convention of States would be, something the rest of the states would jump on now.
I hope so.
I do too, man. We need to get rid of.
Good education about what the Convention of States is all about really helps too. Educating people about it, because I don't think for the longest time people didn't understand. They didn't even know what it was. And so when you get a lot of people out there, representatives from the Convention of States going out and talking and teaching, educating people about what it's all about, then they wake up a little bit and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good, man. We got to do this. So so people look up Convention of States, research it, and go find your local representatives of the Convention of States, sign on to this. It's for your own good. It's really for your own good. So,
right. Patriots, let us know what you think about our new background. We're kind of playing around with it a little bit. We kind of the last minute here, so we'll get it more refined here, and then probably in the next show. By the next show, we'll get it nailed down just right. So, but we're just kind of playing around, trying to figure out what looks best, and we're just trying to put the next level up on our podcast. So.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Rumble tonight. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. You could also catch us on Spotify, iHeart Media, Google service, Google Podcasts. You can get us on Alexa and all the other streaming services as well. We're still climbing like crazy in all the other countries too, Tig.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Muslims are going to like us now.
That's fine. It is what it is. They're in our country now, so
do yourselves a favor, some of you Muslims, if you're sick of, deport yourselves. But some of the Muslims around the world, you know what? You'd be better off to ditch the Sharia law thing.
Yeah.
And no, you. I don't care what your Quran says. You don't have
the right to do it here.
I don't care what your Quran says. It's not appropriate for you to go beheading and causing terrorist acts and killing Christians around the world and the so-called infidel, Right. So don't go there, because you know what, we can fight back too, and some of us are really sick of it. So we've put up with it enough. So if you really want to represent your religion well, then be peaceful.
Yes.
Be peaceful. Preach peace. and go around doing peace, because then you're going to represent yourselves a lot better.
Right.
So, and I know us Christians need to do it too. I mean, I'm not, we need to play our part in our own belief system too.
Right. And we're not inciting violence either. We're just letting you know.
we say we will defend. We will get violent if we have to get violent.
Right.
Do you got any news, Bull? We're getting up there on the hour.
Yeah, if you want to go like 5 more minutes into the news segment or the trending news, we could do that. That's fine.
Okay. You got anything?
I do, but I don't have it right. Just give me a minute here. I'll have some.
I'll give you something. You did hear that George Soros paid Tesla protesters something like $200 a piece. Yeah. So there you go. George Soros, the guy who is him and his son. These people need to be brought to justice. Cory Booker.
I got one here. Filet mignon from Getter. She posted, I wish people hated Bill Gates like they hate Elon. One is trying to kill you. The other is trying to pay you. Weird.
Yeah. Elon's trying to give you money back that was wasted. Hey, do you see Cory Booker?
That should piss everybody off like no other.
Yeah, but yet it doesn't.
They're too busy being stupid about other shit that's irrelevant.
It's like this guy Randy I work out with at the Y. I see him at the Y. He's a veteran. It's like he said these people act. It's like if somebody comes in and tries to rob your home, and somebody stops them from robbing your home, you're going to get all pissed off at the person that tried to stop the robber from robbing your home. That's what they're acting like.
Yeah.
So that was a good point. I keep trying to say Cory Booker. This guy's a shit bag. Okay. He gets the record, and they think he's so great on the left. He gets the record for the longest rant, 24-hour rant on the Senate floor, wasting time, taxpayer dollars, wasting the Senate floor time. He got nothing done. Senate got nothing done for 24 hours that he did his rant. He is one of the biggest commie shitbags ever to sit on the Senate seat, let alone stand on the floor and spew his nonsense. This guy, oh man, do I need to go any further with this idiot?
No, you're
not
good.
really. Yeah.
Hey, did you happen to see Kawasaki? This is kind of diving into a little bit of a different area here, but Kawasaki's known for some fine motorcycles and maybe some not so fine motorcycles, but
pegged to death for a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's okay. But us.
They came out with this hydrogen powered horse thing that you could ride. It's got handlebars on it and it's got 4 legs.
Bet it goes kaboom.
I don't know. Boom. It's kind of cool though.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to be riding that thing and take my chance in it going all of a sudden setting on fire and becoming a flaming inferno. I don't want to be the Ghost Rider.
You disappear.
I don't trust hydro shit. I don't trust these electric motorcycles either. I don't trust that crap. I'll take my chances on a gas fueled Harley Davidson any day of the week. Big time.
Yeah.
So, did you hear great actor Val Kilmer died?
Yeah.
He had cancer, but I guess he died of pneumonia. Sad. I mean, he was pretty young. He's like 65.
Yeah, and he was fighting cancer for a while too. Though.
Yeah, throat cancer.
Yeah,
but I mean excellent.
The last Top Gun.
Excellent guy.
Excellent movie, and
he. I guess from what I hear, he was a real decent human being. You'll never see him on the Epstein list, by the way, because he wasn't your Joe Hollywood type. He was pretty stand up. Pretty decent human being, and it's just sad because I mean I can name the movies and the characters that he did. Doc Holliday was awesome. Yeah. Doc Holiday's just a lovable character.
He played a great part, man.
Oh, he did, and his one-liners were awesome on that.
Yeah,
He did a pretty decent Batman. He played in a movie called The Saint, which was really good too. That was like an espionage film. He was awesome in that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he did so well as Jim Morrison in The Doors. I mean, just fantastic. So it's really sad to see a once great actor gone. A pretty decent human being as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty sad. I mean, I was pretty saddened by it. I normally don't get saddened by celebrities dying. I mean, I'm not saying I'm glad they're dead, but I normally don't. It doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't sadden me. But this one, he was just really good. I mean,
you know, kind of we were speaking a little bit about the shitbag judges.
yeah.
In 26, if the Democrats take over, you know, they're planning on punishing Americans for voting for Donald Trump. So
they're going to try to stack the courts too. Stack the courts with all kinds of liberalism. Let me tell you something. Thomas Jefferson warned us a long, long time ago. Thomas Jefferson, the founding father, warned us that if we allowed the judicial system to become too powerful and corrupt, that we would not only lose our freedoms, but we would also lose the republic itself. So, you know, these things, these warnings by our founding fathers, we need to listen to these warnings because they knew what it was before they won our independence, and they warned us on what could happen again. And he warned us about the judicial branch becoming too powerful. You know, it's almost like they prophesize this stuff. But yeah. So
I got one more thing here, and then I guess we can, you know, speaking of the judges, that radical pile of shit, Obama judge that ordered all those criminal illegals that Trump sent away. You know, he wants them all to come back. You know, he's been reported that his whole family's involved. His wife, his daughter.
They ought to be indicted. They ought to be indicted. He ought to be disbarred.
Yeah.
You know,
and that needs to happen.
We need to start fighting these judges. You know, they wonder why they're getting threats all the time. Well, you know what? Because we're fed up with your shit. That's why. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, I'm down to about maybe a couple last statements for the final. So whatever you've got to. I mean,
I'm pretty good if you want to run it down. And
well, you know, I always say I've got two things to say. I always say with my motto, I always try to say, you know, if you're not suspicious or a little paranoid, then you're not prepared. And my final statement for tonight will be, God is not dead.
Period. Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
That's all it for me, folks. What do you got? You got anything else?
Nope, I'm good. Thanks for following Stars, Bars, and Cigars on Rumble here tonight, and also on YouTube and Twitch.
Thank you, listeners.
All of our other streaming services, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Media, Alexa, Google, all the other places you can catch us there also. Let us know what you think of our new background. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but we're just trying something different here to take it to the next level.
I kind of like it. I don't know why. I just kind of like it.
Cool.
You know,
we'll get it figured out so that
if you're seeing our black brick wall, the elitists think that we are all just bricks in the wall. And not to quote the song, but I think we're a little bit more than just another brick in the wall. Yeah. And I think it's high time that we take a stand. You know, we voted for better, and we should make sure that we get better.
Absolutely.
Because we're the boss.
All right.
We the people are the boss.
And we'll see you the next time.
You've been been listening to Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Two conservative vets telling it like it is. The rally cry for those who appreciate bold truths served with a side of mayhem.
Roger, outside, decide before that's all. We'll keep them sweating until we see Butcher 3. Out.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here, Snowflake? We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and hear our precious voices on all the streaming services. Until next time, keep the spirit of freedom roaring.